Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Good Friday to everybody. No new messages to share today on the blog, so I'm just going to share this video. What I want to talk to today is about time. And something that was mentioned in the message sometime late last year, where God let us know that space and time were illusions of man. And it makes total sense because they don't really exist with him. I mean, he is infinite. I mean, he is so infinite. Our mind just is not designed to understand or conceive or comprehend the immensity of his scope. I mean, I've talked about this before in the blog. I mean, when you think of the size of his creation, it's this entire universe, everything in it, from the most minuscule, minute, tiny, invisible to the naked eye stuff, up to the immensity of the size of the universe. But we all know there might be more beyond that. We don't know. We don't know for sure. All things are possible with God. So, for example, if I remember reading about the size of the universe, the guesstimate of the size of the universe, how many hundreds of billions of light years across. Just do the math, your mind can't figure it out. On the computer can figure it out, maybe the most powerful ones. I mean, when you figure that the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second, you just multiply how many seconds in a minute, 60, and 60 in a minutes in an hour, then times 24 hours, then times 365 days. That's the distance light travels in 1 year. We're talking hundreds of billions of light years. It just boggles the mind. God is far bigger than that. So for people to try to put the constructs of space and time, human constructs, earthly constructs, to fit God into that, I mean, you just go to other worlds and look. The worlds in our solar system. How different a year is, their years are different. And that's just in this tiny little corner of this galaxy, which is a tiny corner of the universe. All different. God's all of them and more. So to try to put God, all that he is, into our human frame of reference, we can't do it. We're not designed to understand all that or to comprehend all that. God is just too big. I mean, it's like we try to fit all the water on this earth into a thimble. You can't do it. And God's much more than that. So it just boggles my mind when people want to put him within our parameters, our frame of reference, our perception. And then anything outside of that doesn't exist. That's crazy. That's like looking forward, and everything that's reality that you see right now, that's all that exists. Anything else is not true. That's just totally insane. Totally insane. That's what so many Christians and other faiths believe, what they perceive. Which brings us to the Bible. Now, I've talked to Christians, non-Christians, to strong faith, weak faith. People profess that they're close to God and they love Jesus and all that, and I'm sure they do in their mind. But then they turn around and put limits on him. Say, okay, it's not in. Let's talk to the Christians. Say doesn't say that in scriptures. I've heard it from preachers. Or it doesn't say that in scriptures, so it's not true. Now, I've just talked about the immensity of God and how space and time doesn't exist. Here we're mainly talking about space. We got the time. Time is just like What's a day? What's a second? What's an hour to God? It's nothing. I mean, see, all the examples, the hints of his immensity are here known to us already, but we still reject that concept that he's beyond everything. We want to put those constraints on him. I mean, just look, you go out in space, somebody comes back, not that much is time. Maybe days have passed, or years have passed for them, decades have passed, or generations have passed for somebody here on Earth. It's all relative. It's all relative to where you're at, what you're experiencing. And God's all of that and more. So to say that he's all that God is in one book, or this book, the Quran, or the Torah, or the Talmud, or the the Christian Bible. And which Christian Bible is right? Every religion has its own Bible, its own version. There's so many Bibles, been so many Bible versions out there, blows the mind. Which one's right? Is God in all of them? Which one is he in? Which one is he not in? He's much more than that. You can't put him in one little book. It's impossible. This is ours, Old Testament. God, Introduction to God 101, first semester, freshman year. New Testament, Introduction to God 102, second semester, first year. Okay, you read the Bible. Now, let's really start. Now you start to get into the meat of God. Really start to learn. But if you just finish that and says, okay, I've known all about God. I know all there is to know about him. I've said this many times to many people. Say, if you want to know all about me, and you come and sit across from this table with me, and then one by one, everybody who's ever known me or known anything about me, even from all my different lives, if you believe that or not, and talk to them all. Tell me all you know about Tim. And they told you everything they knew about me. And then everybody was done after that. You look down, here's a book. It says the Book of Tim, Gospel of Tim, the Holy Tim. And read it front to back. Oh, there's more stuff I know about Tim. And then you get up and leave thinking you know all about Tim. Oh, heck no. You never talked to me. I'm the source about Tim. I'm the best source about Tim in this physical world. Why would you not talk to me? I'm the first one you should have talked to. So when you want to learn about God, talk to God. You say, well, I don't hear him. Have you tried? You have to try. You have to believe. You have to believe. I mean, the more you believe, the more you open yourself up to all that he is and the possibilities of that he is, which is everything, the sooner and the more you're going to start to experience him. And he will communicate to you in whatever way works for you at that moment in time. The first thing you got to do is open up your heart and your mind. Remove the restrictions. Remove the limitations you put on God. I mean, I saw on YouTube, and you probably still find it on there, this wonderful example of how so many people view God. Where the guy has this faucet running, kitchen sink, and he puts this Coca-Cola bottle, and you can't see that through that Coca-Cola bottle. You can't see through it. But he puts it under the faucet, and the water just keeps flowing through and flushing it out. So eventually it's just water in there, and then you can see through it. Perfect example of how we view God blindly. You have to remove the restrictions. You have to have this open mind, think that everything's possible. And if you have these preconceived notions, or what these limitations that are put there by yourself or by others, how God is or isn't. There is no isn't with God. There just is. Is everything. Everything is possible, whether you understand it or not. When you finish in this country junior high school, and you've gone through all the math classes. You've learned, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, fractions, decimals. Then you get up into high school and take algebra or pre-algebra, and they start putting letters mixed in there and formulas. Like, what is this? That makes no sense. It's not possible. I don't believe it. Doesn't make it so. Still is. When you manage to kick that, and you go up to, for me, it was the next thing was geometry. Like, whoa, what the heck is this? Theorems, angles, shapes, sizes, more formulas? Makes no sense. Then you get to trigonometry, then the calculus, then the advanced calculus, and physics. Like, none of it. Not to mention chemistry. None of it makes sense to you till you open your mind to it. First thing you got to do is, hey, believe that it is, know that it is possible. You're just not getting it. That's what the teachers are for. But here, God is the teacher. It's one of his roles. Jesus Christ, one of his roles. To teach. The teacher. Ask him to teach you, and he will teach you in the perfect way. He'll help you to remove these constraints. He says, let me transform the way you think. There it is. And he will remove restrictions that you put on him. And you'll see that space and time truly don't exist. It's just for us. So that our mind, the way it's made, the limitations of our mind can function in this world. Because we need boundaries and borders and parameters to operate in this world. Some people more than others. Like, for example, just for me, physical boundaries. I was bound by my life, by the things I own, had all around me, and by my job. The Lord said, retire. I have things for you to do. Sell everything you own, give it to the poor. You don't need it. Help me get rid of everything. And I realized what freedom I had. I can go anywhere, anytime I want. Nothing's holding me back from going anywhere. Those limitations were removed. And those are some physical limitations of this world. You know, and years back when we started to remove this spiritual limitations and the emotional limitations by helping me to get rid of all the stuff I hung on to inside, which is even worse than the stuff outside. That freed up the boundaries, removed the parameters in my mind, in my spirit, to experience all I've experienced. You all can experience spiritual awakening and spiritual, what you thought were miracles, but are just everyday things for God. But if you want to stay in those constraints, because it's like those things become like a safety blanket for us, our security. We don't want to step outside of it. We don't want to let go of it. We don't want to take off that blanket. There's nothing to fear. That's why you got to trust in God. To do it all at once, I couldn't have done that. I didn't do that. Because he knows I wouldn't have been able to handle it. Do a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. But you'd be amazed what you can do and what you can live without. But that gets away from time, what I want to talk about. Other aspect of time, I remember somebody asking me years back, you know, because I was an anthropology major, so how did you reconcile, you know, evolution with creation? I've never had a problem with that. I've never had a problem with that. Why? Because the first thing that came to my mind was time. What is time to God? What is a day, a second, an hour to God? You know, we have this evidence of Neanderthal man and Cro-Magnon man and dinosaurs and before dinosaurs and all the age of the earth. How do you reconcile it with creation and suddenly there being man, the first man? Take the constraints away from God. Take the limitations away from God. Don't try to view him from your human perspective. God is spirit. You have to look at it, not from a human perspective. That's why you ask for discernment of his wisdom and knowledge. In other words, his perspective, his way of seeing things. It's like you want to take, instead of like sitting there looking at me, you're suddenly flipped back here and look in the opposite direction. You're not looking up to him. Suddenly you're up there looking down at what he sees. That's what you're asking for. Just a little bit of that. So you can understand and see things from how he sees them. Once you do that and keep doing that, keep asking for that discernment of his wisdom and knowledge. Instead, I remember a day, it was like 2 years ago, it was just before I started sharing these Bible messages, that I was able to see them. It was like a head rush. It was like poof, and it just flowed through me. Literally, like banging up against the sound barrier and suddenly poof, bursting through and taking off from there. Because I removed those limitations, or they were removed from me, because I asked him to help me have that discernment. And those time constraints, those boundaries we put on God, will be removed. Will he do them right away? He may do them right away. It may take some time, asking for it over and over and over again. It might. He may want you to be patient, teach you some patience. He may know that you're not quite able to handle it. If you're only at a pre-algebra mindset, he doesn't want to overwhelm you by suddenly giving you advanced calculus mindset. He may not. If he knows you better than anybody. He'll know if you can handle that. Then he'll make it happen that soon. If not, he'll make it happen over time. He is the perfect everything, perfect in this situation, perfect teacher. Perfect teacher. He'll do it at a time and a pace and a place that best suits you. But that's what you need to do if you want to grow. I mean, if you're happy where you're at, happy with your perspective, happy keeping him boundaries on him, that works for you, great. You know what? But we're here a limited time. We're here to learn and grow in his light and to help others to do so. To help others to do so. And just helping others in any way, shape, or form is helping others to do so. But you have to make that choice. He's never going to force you. He's never going to force anything. People may think he forced this on me. Why did he do this to me? Why did he do that to me? He didn't force. Think about that. That's another topic entirely, but that's free will. I'll talk about that another time. And the final thing about time is, well, two things. End of times, which is very soon. Will it happen? All in Revelation happen? Again, Revelations, everything in the Bible has multiple layers of meaning and a lot of symbolism. Revelation is the most allegorical, symbolic book in the whole Bible. Will it happen exactly as it says? Sure, it could happen that way. Will it happen all at once? Sure, it could happen that way. Will it? Probably not. My opinion that not. In fact, a recent message said it would be layered, which means it would be in stages. Look at it this way. Would you rather happen like suddenly going to the doctor and realize suddenly you have cancer, stage 4, and you got a few days to live? Or you're going to go blind. Suddenly you're blind. Or would you rather have it stretched out so you can adapt to it and others, loved ones around you, can adapt to it and process it, digest it, and cope with it better? That's the alternatives. So it most likely will happen. It could be a day, it could be tens of thousands of years. Only God knows that. But it will be in a perfect way, according to his plan. I personally want to know everything there is to know about God, know all about his plan. I want to learn about him. I want to grow in him. And that's what he does for me. He helps me learn and grow about him. Because I ask, because I want to. But it's up to you. If you don't want to, then don't blame him when you're struggling and you're feeling lost. And don't put down other people who are further developed in his light, in his grace, as being liars full of nonsense. And they just know more about you. all that I know about him, my perspective of him, is going to be different 6 months from now, 3 months from now. I certainly hope so. A month from now, I hope it's different. Things I see as a certain way, if they're off a little bit, I want them to be. I want to continue to learn more detail about them so I have them more exact. And as I learn more, I share more with you. Because he's taught me more. I'm able to handle more. So my understandings, my perceptions will change. That's how it should be. But if you want to stick to your guns as is, that's fine. I call that flat earth mentality. Imagine if everybody stuck to the guns, as the church said, before Columbus or anybody else sailed towards the Western Hemisphere. We'd all still be thinking the world's flat. There would be no Western Hemisphere at all, to our knowledge. But no, some decided, hey, I think there's more. And look where we are today. So, Luna wants to say hi. There's my buddy. There's my buddy. She wants to get part of the act. Okay, she said hi. Yes. She said hi. The other thing about time is we all have limited amount of time here in this world. God already knows that amount of time at conception. And I'll talk about conception another time. But when you're conceived, he already has set. It's like an alarm clock, a timer. Okay, this one's here this long. Because he already knows what your path is, what he wants for you. Whether you stick to it is up to you. It's free will. But whether you stick to it or not, the end time is already decided. Believe it, don't believe it. Like with anything I share with you, is what I learned. You believe it or don't believe it, it's up to you. It's like everything Jesus shared with everybody. They believed it, didn't believe it, it's up to them. But it's decided, no matter who you are, what you have, what you don't have, how much money you have, how much wealth you have, property, power, position, how much of a name you have, all that you have yet to do, doesn't matter. When that timer goes off, you're done. Whether somebody caused your life to end, what it matters. Say somebody shot somebody to death. Well, that person's, their time was up. That just happened to be how the two paths that they were on crossed each other at that time, in that moment, in that occurrence, that event that played into them leaving this world. If they had detoured, going off, made a different choice somewhere along the line, that person may have died the other way. Maybe he was going in a car accident. Maybe he would have died in bed. Either way, nothing was going to stop them leaving this world. And the tough thing to understand is that even though somebody did that to them, took their life, it's just like Judas. He was part of that plan. He played into that plan. Did he want Jesus dead? No. It was Jesus' time, and he was the part of the instrument of that end of his life. He had a part to play. And the person who took somebody's life maybe had a part to play. When you start to think it that way, it really actually makes it easier to forgive them because, hey, it wasn't really totally their fault. They're just an instrument, like Judas, of that person's end time. Again, if you think like that, and you put that in perspective, which is God's perspective, it's so much easier to forgive that person. Say, hey, is it horrible that they did it? Yes. Does it take away the pain that they did it? No. Only he can do that for you. But it helps you to understand that, hey, that person was going to go anyways. Like with these terrorists that take people's lives. Yeah, they're instruments of evil. But those people are going to go anyways. And they went quick. They didn't really suffer. It's actually a better way to go than a long, debilitating disease. So, but that's digressing. Time. Time is for us to live within. God, there is no time. Space and time, as I said, illusions of man, but they are a gift to help us to be able to function. Imagine if there was no sense of space or time. With our minds how we are now, we wouldn't be able to like go nuts. Does it put a little bit of stress and pressure on us? Yes. I need more time to get stuff done. Pressure to get stuff done and accomplished. When you remove that pressure off from yourself, you know, it's a lot less stressful. So that's time. And with that, I pray that you all have the blessings of peace of Jesus Christ, the blessings of God, no matter how which way you perceive Him, whether you're Christian, Jew, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, you know, we're all God's children. All God's children. No matter which way you look at Him. You're looking behind me, seeing this blind. Well, it might look blue. Well, it might look blue-green. It might look a little greenish. It doesn't change the fact that it's a window blind. No matter how you look at God, He's still God. Plain and simple. So to hate everybody else, especially this time, this Lenten season, this Passover season, this Easter season, is crazy. God is God. Same yesterday, today, and forever. And I'll talk to you before Easter. Everybody have a blessed Easter, blessed Passover, just a blessed weekend. God bless.